There is this beautiful understanding that Baba gives, that because I am the ocean of love, I teach with love. And I was just thinking about this thing of teaching with love. Now you see, love is not just an intention. Love is a power. Yes, love is a spiritual power. And sometimes, when we think about love in this old world, or in fact all the time when we think about love in this old world, then we are only talking about the intention of love. Because everybody has the intention, to do good, to benefit someone. But that intention is not enough. Love is a power. If I'm not a powerful soul, I do not have the capacity to love. Even if I have the intention, I do not have the capacity. And because Baba is the powerhouse, the Almighty, so He has the capacity to love. So this is one thing, because if I don't have the capacity to love, then I would just say that, I love you and that's an intention. I intend to love you, but do I have the capacity to love you? That's the question, because it's all about our capacity, not just the intention. And I will tell you some things. So, there's this sister, and she told me that my son raises hand on me, He's 10 years old and he is even able to lift his hand and slap me. So I said, but what are your thoughts, when he slaps you? And how do you process that? So she said that, I feel like, this is something bad that is happening to me, and how can a son slap his mother, and that's wrong, and I'm being wronged, and it's not okay. So you see that the mother is not in Swaman. So you understand, Baba is giving us Swaman, self-respect. So you are losing your self-respect because of what the child is doing. Yes, and the action of the child is able to put you into self-doubt. Yes, and just ask yourself, can you correct somebody who is able to put you in self-doubt? No, obviously that soul is more powerful than you. So the law says you will either get affected or you will influence. Yes, so either you will get influenced or you will influence. Both of these two things will not happen together. So if you are influenced, you are the weaker one. Then how will you influence? Yes, so influencing someone for the good, for the better, comes with great power, So if you don't have the capacity to stay uninfluenced, how will you influence someone? Now just imagine that same scenario where the child raises the hand and the mother just holds the hands and says, you do what I say and that's what you have to do. And there is no anger, or there is no, but there is the strength. And the child knows that I have to listen to my mother. She is my mother, and she has made a statement by not getting affected. And even if the child says two wrong things, if you are able to stay calm, and then you are able to say that even if you say these things, this is not going to affect me, and you have to finish the homework, then the child knows that saying those things has not helped, and he has still to do whatever he has to do. And then he stops it. But if the child figures out that whatever he is saying or doing has started affecting you, and then even a little child knows how to play tantrums. They will make you dance to the tune. Yes. So this is something, children also know when you are affected by something. And if you're affected by something, then the Kaliyugi sanskar will not tell you that, I should be considerate because somebody is affected. The Kaliyugi sanskar tells you I should exploit this situation because somebody is affected. And even in a child, because that's also soul, and that soul has had a long journey. So even in that soul, there is a sanskar which tells that, because my mother and father are in a position of authority, and if they are getting affected, then let me use it to my advantage. So if a child shouts and you feel bad about it, then they will shout more and more and more, and then they will have their way. But if you have a lot of swaman, then the child knows that my shouting is pointless, and this one is not getting affected. And in any case, they have the authority, so they will make me, so every time the child makes a mistake, or is throwing tantrums, what do? You say, today no phone. And even if they are shouting and screaming and doing whatever, no phone. So from tomorrow, they will listen to you. So you don't have to raise your voice, you don't have to punish, you don't have to beat, but you have to stay in your authority and not get affected. And this is very, very important, because when the soul has less spiritual power, and low spiritual power means no swaman, no self-esteem, then everything around you is affecting you. And this is why, do you understand, Baba tells us, forget the body, forget the bodily relations, forget the bodily religions, and consider yourself to be a soul and remember me. Why does he say that? Because if you remember the body, then most of your self-image comes from the body, and then somebody makes a statement about the body, or even the body is in fluctuation, then your swaman is lost. Your self-respect is lost. Yes, so do you understand that we identify with our parents, with our caste, with our religion, with our physical structure, with our gender, whether we are male or female, and all that is affecting our swaman. So, if you look at yourself as a female or a male, and in the society you grew up, if you were looked upon as somebody who is not important because by virtue of your gender, yes, then you will have less swaman, because you identify with your body and the gender of the body. If your height is not what the world says is the perfect height, then you will have less swaman based on your height. based on your skin color. So all of that is affecting your sense of self-worth. And if you have grown up in a society where it is said that women are good for nothing and you think you are a woman, then you will have very less Swaman. And everybody will come. So, I'll give you this one incident where there was this person who walked into the center and I was sitting right there, and he looked here and there and everywhere, and he said, "Is there somebody I can talk to?" So I said, "Who are you looking for?" So he said, "Somebody." So I said, "I'm sitting right here." So they said, "No, कोई आदमी हो ना जिससे बात करें." So there has to be a man I can talk to. So I said, "I'm sorry, but this is the best available right now." We don't have a man to provide you to talk to. So if you choose to, you can talk to me, or you could come at a later time, but I cannot guarantee there would be somebody else to talk to you. So then he said, "Okay, then let me, like he looked at me like he's making a big compromise, and then he sat down and then he said, "Okay, so I will talk to you, but I don't know if you can understand." So I said, "Okay, I'll try to. You can, I'll try to. I promise I'll make the best effort." And then he started sharing about his problems, and then every one sentence, after that sentence, he would say, "Are you getting me? Are you getting me?" So I said, I'm trying to get you. So you can, you're making a lot of effort, I can see. I'm also appreciating it, and I'm trying. And then after he had discussed all his problems, then I started telling him whatever Baba says. And then he said, "Okay, so I can talk to you. Even next time, if somebody else is not somebody, if somebody is not available, then I can talk to you next time also." So I said, "Okay, you're welcome. You can talk to me next time." So you see that there are people who will dismiss you for your gender, like you don't exist. But you have to remember that you exist. And if you forget you exist, then they can mess up with you. And by the way, that brother is a BK now. So he slowly understood that he's a soul, and he learned to see that I'm a soul. Although, sometimes he can really raise his voice and other things, but he's a BK anyway. So you see that everybody comes from a body conscious world, and they are looking at you a certain way. And there was this one sister, and she shared an incident with me, and she said that she was in a foreign country, and she's Indian, so she's dark by complexion. And then she said that in that country I was traveling by bus, and I had to insert coins somewhere in the bus to go. So there was no conductor, and I did not know where to insert those coins. So I was just holding them like this, and then I tapped on somebody's shoulder, and that person, he thought that I'm a beggar because I was holding my coins like this, and he got really flustered, and he gave me this expression. So these days beggars are also getting onto the bus, and then he just got very flustered, and that expression made me like really die in that moment, that do I look like a beggar? So you see that. So then she said that I had to remind myself that I'm not a beggar. So you see that somebody's drishti can really mess up with you. So you have to have a lot of swaman. And how do you have swaman? Because if your whole identity is built around the body, the gender, the relationships, and this is why, when you are always you always think about yourself as somebody's son and somebody's father and somebody's mother and somebody's daughter. So you are always thinking about yourself in terms of your relationships. Yes, and in everywhere in the world, and especially in India, we are recognized by virtue of our parents. Yes, and then if your parent is rich, you are taken seriously. If they are not rich or something, you are not taken seriously. So all your sense of self is developed around these factors. And then your sense of self, if that is very low, and you are yourself not in self-esteem, so whether it is the body, the gender, the bodily relations, the bodily religions, or the caste or the class, so in India there was caste, and now there is caste and class both. So these days there are these two big things which have come up, which is the caste and the class. So there is, so in this whole in this whole setting, in this whole scenario, how do you stay in your spiritual power if you are associating your identity with your gender, your body, your height, your skin color, your weight, your whatever, if you are associating your identity with your body, bodily relations, your caste, your religion, if you're doing all of that, then you will not be in Swaman. And this is why it is very important that we sit in awareness of myself as a child of God, as the master ocean of peace, purity, love, power, by virtue of being the child of God, and I start to dissociate with these identities that I'm carrying. And only then am I not prone to attack. Only then am I not prone to attack. And when I am not prone to attack, I am very powerful. When I am in this soul conscious stage where I know I am Baba's child and I am Master Almighty, and I'm worthy, and I have the capacity to be loveful and peaceful, come what may, and I'm not associating myself with any of the physical identities, then somebody's drishti, somebody's behavior, somebody's words, they are not able to affect me. Yes, even if it's the word of the husband or the child or the wife or the anybody, parents, anybody. So even if somebody is telling you something, so they are calling you names or whatever, you are able to maintain self-respect. And only when you maintain self-respect, you don't block your love. You don't block your love, because the moment your ego is attacked, so if you don't dissociate with your ego, which is this whole acquired identity setup that you are carrying around, if you don't make an effort to dissociate from your ego and you don't sit in self-respect, then that ego will always make you block your love, because somebody will come and they will look at you, or they will talk about you, or they will address you, or in a way which will hurt your ego. And then the first thing you do when your ego is hurt is you block your love. It doesn't help, but you do that. Yes, somebody who looks at you as, a down, who looks down upon you, then what do? You block your love for that one. And if your love is blocked, then your power is lost. Because love is a very deep spiritual power. I think love is the biggest spiritual power after purity. Because purity is the foundation, so it has to be big. But love is also very big. And when you teach with love, when you talk with love, when you communicate with love, then a lot can happen. But it's not love in the moment, it's love as your essence. And if you keep blocking your love because you're body conscious, and then every time somebody's you are interacting with people, you're just blocking your love, then वैसे भी when you're sitting and you're just thinking about yourself also, you don't have self-esteem and you don't have self-love also. So if you are in that state, then how can you bring about a difference? Because teaching with love is a powerful method, very, very powerful. And communicating with love, teaching with love, it can change anybody into anybody. And Baba says, I am the ocean of love, I teach with love, and I transform you from a human to a deity. And we can see that, don't we? We can see that Baba is transforming us from a human to a deity. But how does he do that? Because he is the ocean of love. And why are we not able to bring about any transformation? Because we don't have love, which comes from, love is a spiritual aspect, and only the one who has self-respect and spiritual power is capable of love. And that's why we don't have this transforming power. And these days, whenever you try to teach somebody something, they will always react. Yes, they will always be very aversive to that idea of being taught. Why? Because we have always been taught by force. We have never been taught by love. Have you ever been taught with love? No. Every time, somebody tried to teach us in our past, they wagged a finger, they just used a stick, and they always tried to, or they shouted and screamed, and they always tried to teach us with force. And that's why, we have this antagonistic relationship with teaching. We don't like being told, being taught, we don't like all that. But when Baba teaches us, it's different. When we read the Murli, we don't even understand that, Baba is trying to change us or something, because there's no force. It's with so much love that, you understand that Baba is not interested in some self-benefit. He's doing it for me. You get that. Why? Because it's the love that reaches you. And Baba says, you could do the same, but you have to have a lot of love with, in you, and that happens only when you forget the body, bodily relations, religions, and detach from the body and remember Baba. And I was just thinking about, there was this one person who was asking me some days back, and he asked me, so when I go to the soul world, what do I exactly do? So I told him, you think about every spiritual energy as light. Like, so when we read the chapter on the soul is a point of light, right? And Baba is the ocean of light. So, and it's not blue, black, white, indigo, no, not that, just white light, pure white light. Okay. And when we go to the soul world, in that golden red world of light, you sit before Baba, and Baba is giving you light, the light of purity, the light of love, the light of peace. Everything is light. These days there are various kinds of lights, and light that have you seen that during laser surgery they use light to cut also? So it's light that's cutting. So light is energy. So you visualize that Baba's light, the light that's coming from Baba and entering you, and the light that you're soaking in is the light of purity. It's giving you an experience of being full of purity. Or the light that's coming from Baba is the light of love, and it's filling you with the light of love. And you, the soul, are soaking in that. And just like, when there is this, so you can also see the light as a cleansing agent. So, it's the light that's driving all the darkness out, and it's cleansing you. Or you can look at the light as something that is healing you. Just like laser surgery, it's doing something inside you which is shifting you. So you can think about, you can experience Baba's light in various forms. And you can experience the love, the purity, the happiness, the peace, all in the form of light, because there is no body in the soul world. So how do you experience whatever Baba is giving in the form of light? So this is what you do. And when you keep soaking in, so have you seen you soak chickpeas in the night, and then in the morning they're all lush and healthy and soaked. So that's what happens to you when you soak in the light. So you also become very activated and very full and very energized, and that's how you become when you go to the soul one and you sit in Baba's remembrance. So Baba says, just keep doing this, keep detaching from the body, bodily relations, bodily religion, even from the mind. You detach, because the mind is under the influence of Maya. And then you see yourself as a point of light who belongs to the world of light and who is the child of the ocean of light, and you go there and then you soak in and you become full. And when you come here, you think about, and you need Gyan and Yog. So Yog you did. Now you need Gyan to understand how a loveful soul behaves. So, does a loveful soul, is doing somebody's work a sign of love, an expression of love? No. Because Baba today says an expression of love is teaching with love. So, substituting somebody's effort, that's not love. So then you need to learn how to express that love also through knowledge, because you are loveful then, but if you choose to do their work instead of teach them how to do, then you are doing the opposite of love. Yes, so then how do you express your love? Teach lovingly. And do you know that teaching is much more difficult than doing it? Yes, teaching is much more difficult than doing it, and teaching with love is, in the Kali Yugi consciousness, a very difficult thing to do. Because it requires patience, it requires letting go, it requires forgiveness, it requires a benevolent attitude, it requires hope and faith that the one will learn, and that too constant. So you have to be constantly patient, constantly hopeful, constantly keep letting go of whatever they are doing in the face of it. So teaching with love is an act of love, is what you learn through Gyan. And then when you are a loveful soul, what do? You teach with love. You don't do their work, you don't fight their battles, you teach them how to do things, and you teach them also how to fill themselves with power, because that's another more important dimension. Not just teach them to be functional, but teach them how to increase their power, and teach them to also try to detach from the body, remember Baba, and fill themselves with power. So this is how Baba is giving us directions both about Gyan and Yoga, because you need yoga power, and yoga power will give you spiritual elevation, so it increases your consciousness, your capacity as a soul. And then you need knowledge also, because without knowledge you are like you don't have the direction how to apply it. So this is all about love today, and Baba is the ocean of love, so he is the best one who can teach us about how to conduct ourselves lovefully. And I want to specially mention that the way we have started looking at love is very, very distorted these days. So you think that if somebody loves you, then they have to fight your battles, and they have to do your work. But that's not love, and don't do it to anybody. So making somebody self-reliant, that's love, and making somebody dependent, that's the opposite of love. So this also has to be underlined many times, because our relationship with this whole concept of love is also very distorted. So this is something. Then in the Murli there are very many beautiful things today, of course, like every other day, but what I want to talk about some more is Baba uses this word constant in the blessing many times. So and Baba says you have to be a tapasvi. So what is a tapasvi? So when there is a yogi, what does a physical yoga, Hatha yogi? So what does the Hatha yogi do which draws your admiration? So there's a sadhu and he is doing tapasya. What is he doing in tapasya? He's just sitting in one posture. Yes, but you understand that sitting in one posture is very difficult. Yes, so what matters is constancy. If you can be constant, even in the physical realm, when somebody is constantly sitting in one posture, that's a great thing to do, because it's not easy. And Baba says, being constantly serviceable, being in constant remembrance, being constantly soul conscious, this is what tapasya is about. Because Maya will always tell you, oh, you've had half an hour of meditation. Now watch some videos. Your life will become very dry. Already you've started feeling bored, and you must have some entertainment in life. And you know what that is doing? It's draining all that tapasya you did. So this is very important, being in this constant space where you are constantly soul conscious, constantly in remembrance of Baba, constantly in seva, constantly being in the company of Baba. This is what tapasya is in Sangam Yuga. And whenever there is a distraction and you give into that distraction, then that tapasya is broken. Distraction of the mind. So, you think, in the privacy of my mind, let me remember some moments of the past. How much damage can it do? Or, let me watch something, let me hear something. So, yes, if it is related to Gyan and it helps, maintain that stage. So, Baba has given us variety. Baba has told us, sometimes you churn about Gyan, sometimes you remember me, sometimes you pay attention to, how you apply it in life, and sometimes you do seva. So, Baba has given us variety, but variety within the framework. When you look at variety outside this maryada, then that's an act of Maya, and then your tapasya is being broken. So, even when we have a yog bhatti, in the yog bhatti we don't have constant yog. We have yog, and we have classes, and we have discussions of Gyan, but it's all around Shrimat. It's all about Gyan, Yog, Dharana, Seva, not outside these subjects. So Baba says, you can have variety. You have variety of points, variety of swaman, variety of relationships with Baba. You have the three worlds to travel to. You have the three aspects of time. There is so much variety that Baba is giving us. But outside this, when you step, then your tapasya is broken. And then Baba says that when you are a constant tapasvi here, then you will be a constant ruler in Satyug. Okay, Om Shanti.